Hello, and welcome to my little corner of the internet. Today we're going to be talking about friendship, relationships, and sex. Hooray! Friendship, attraction, connection, and compatibility. So when we think of our friends, we don't necessarily think of being attracted to them. But I would argue more and more that's what we are. We're not choosing our friends because of connection. We're choosing our friends because of attraction. Not in a sexy attraction, but in the, raven crow flying over and thinking, oh, that's a shiny thing. But no, a lot of friendships used to be based on connections and compatibility. However, as we become more socially mobile and more internet dependent, we're losing the human connection. We're losing that connection between people. And I'm not saying I am a full proponent of the internet. I think it helps especially marginalized people find communities that they'll never find. And that's one thing. But a lot of the times, right now, we don't know how to connect with other human beings. We don't know that connection, the feeling. We see attraction, attraction. And to some extent, we see compatibility. I like to play fantasy football. You like to play fantasy football? Let's talk about fantasy football. So you have your friends that are your fantasy football friends. You have your friends that are your gym friends. You have your friends that are this category friends, that category friends, whatever. But you don't have the friends that you have the connection with. Those are far and few in between these days. Because I don't think we know how to make those connections anymore. They need to be built, and that's one thing, and you can argue that, you do have to have the attraction, things in common, to develop that kind of connection. But you also know that connection when you feel it in a friend. It's the same thing with a lover. You know the connection feeling, and you know the attraction feeling, and the compatibility feeling. And it's normally there right away with people. Or you're just on the same wavelength. Or you can have a lot of things in common with somebody and just not be on the same wavelength. Or you can think, oh, that person is a really interesting person. I don't really like them. Now let's move it on to relationships. In relationships, the modern relationship, not relationships in the past, we're talking modern relationships. We have, yeah, you guessed it again, attraction, connection, and compatibility. And much like friendships, I would also argue that connection, we're losing the ability to do that. We're losing the ability to have a connection with a human. Because we're attractive, not attractive, not attractive, not attractive, attractive, not attractive, not attractive, not attractive, attractive. So that is priming us for only focusing on attraction. Now, if you read somebody's bio, you're going to be focused on compatibility. Ooh, they like long walks on the beach and vacations too. We have so much in common, we should hook up. Now, think when you go and you hook up with that person and there's just no connection. And people are really frustrated about that. I'm really frustrated about that. For this rule, the one thing that breaks it is sex. Sex breaks the mold entirely. Because in sex, people normally have attraction, connection, but not compatibility. Unlike the other two, this could be fixed right away if you talk to one another. But people don't like to talk about sex per se. People don't like to hear things like, oh, you know what really gets me off? When mimes read to me. Mimes reading out loud, not mimes like mouthing books Yeah, that's just weird. It actually needs to break that barrier where mimes read out loud to me. And people are like, you know what? I like dressing as a mime and reading out loud to people. And you hook up. But people don't talk about really their kinks. I mean, I know some communities do, and I know there's some websites that do, and blah, blah, blah. But we're just talking majorities here. We're talking the numbers game. That people need to realize that person next to you is a freak. You're a freak. The person next to you is a freak. The person next to them is a freak. Yet no one wants to talk about the freakiness. And you'd all have much better sex if you talked about it. Because with the sex, you do have the connection. I would guess that the modern hookup culture has evolved because people are actually looking for that connection. And the only way that they can find that connection is in the sex. Because in the friendship and in the relationship, that connection is dying. Now, how do we fix the connection? I don't know. You have any ideas? Leave them in the comments. It'd be much appreciated. And if you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.